All right, we're getting set for episode 4, season 2, Hollywood Medium with Corey Feldman, Rachel Hunter, and Evelyn Lozada. Don't go anywhere.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Now, we were talking about this before the episode started. This song is a throwback to the Lost Boys, a little Corey Feldman, a little Corey Haim, and the ladies on my left do not know who that is.
We're too young.
So we're talking a little bit of a generational gap. For any of you that do remember the Lost Boys or the Goonies, you can hang out on my side of the table. I'm your host, Katerina Kazayas. You can find me on Twitter at Kazayas Katerina, and I'm here joined by my two lovely co-hosts, Jennifer and Ava. Ladies, how are you?
Hi.
Fabulous.
Where can we find you?
Well, hi, my name is Ava Hill, and you can find me on Facebook at Ava Hill and on Instagram at The Ava Hill.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Leone. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Jennifer Leone TV.
All right, so we're here for episode 4, season 2.
Time is flying.
So where the heck has it gone?
I don't know.
Wow,
I don't know. I want to
know.
freeze time because I love you guys.
We love it here. We love being here
Well, we have
together.
a long time. So,
I know.
So many episodes.
22
Love it.
episodes apparently,
Yeah.
so we're down knocking off 4 of them.
I know. Stick with us, guys. You got to.
There you
We have so
go.
much to talk about.
Girls, what did you think of today's episode?
Well, to be brutally honest, I was high-key, not even low-key. I was bored.
Bored.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
was it-
after the Corey part, it was just kind of like a little downhill. But, you know, I guess different generations, you know, Rachel Hunter and
Yeah.
and then if you're a Basketball Wives fan, or is that the show, Basketball?
Yeah, Evelyn
so-
Lozada, for those of you that don't know who that is, she's one of the Basketball Wives.
Yeah. So I guess if you're a fan of that, then you'll be a fan of the show.
And I mean, it's an obvious thing that if there's people that aren't, you know, in the episode that you don't know or, you know, you're not in tune with, it's kind of like, okay.
I think a little bit yes and no, though, because,
Really?
yeah, I found Evelyn Lozada and Rachel Hunter's episodes, both of those, were boring, even though I knew who they were. I think it would have been irrelevant whether I knew them or not. They were just boring.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah. And I mean, again, for Corey Feldman, we may not know who he is, some of us, but it was an engaging conversation. Let's start with him. So Corey Feldman started channeling, started channeling 2 people for Corey Feldman. First, he started channeling his grandfather, and Corey brought out, I think it was an old World War II jacket, jersey with a purple heart.
Lots of purple
So that
hearts.
was, that was kind of cool that he was channeling his grandfather, and you know, it was basically telling him that your grandfather is here and he's looking out for you and he's sending you good vibes. Terrific. The next thing, though, Corey gave Tyler a ring on a chain to hold. And that is when it started getting engaging for me, because you knew there's a little bit of Corey Haim that's going to be channeled. And again, for anyone that lived through the 80s and early 90s, the Coreys were like the guys back then. They were like the teen idols. And Corey Haim ended up dying.
Just like 4 years ago in 2010.
Corey Haim.
Yeah, right.
Right.
And
Corey-
somehow I've missed on this wave. I was also young at this time,
Right.
but I've
You were only
not in
5 a
tune.
few years ago. No.
just forever young, you know.
Yeah, he died though of pneumonia and well, it was like a drug overdose, but pneumonia and blood like circulation or something along those lines, like difficulty. So because of that, he just had a quick little, he just died. He just dropped dead. So
out, yeah.
and I think it's interesting that Tyler just channeled that right away. He didn't know who he was channeling, but he said, okay, pneumonia, we're talking water in your lungs, it's young. He wasn't too young, but he was still young.
Right,
you know?
he was still young. I don't think they were even
Right.
40 yet, those guys.
No.
About 45 maybe. Yeah.
Right.
You truly never know when your time is. You just never know.
Right.
If
And
anything
this kind of
confirms-
reminds me of last week's episode when he started channeling Carolyn Bessette Kennedy, who again, he was feeling
Young.
all these things of death and dying young, and he didn't know who he was channeling. So.
Right. I love though that he was like sweating. Like when
yes.
he gets like physical about it.
I mean,
it's
you
like,
saw the
yeah.
beads. I mean, detailed sweat beads. You
But
saw
you've got to imagine that if you're channeling this energy, that's tough.
Yeah, it
That's
takes a lot.
tough on you.
Yeah, and I commend him because I couldn't do it. I could not walk around because I'm already, the Virgo in me, guys. I'm already very analytical. I'm very, in tune to my emotions already. That to walk around with his gift, I would be overwhelmed. I would not go outside. I would not.
Don't talk
I couldn't
to
do
me.
it. Don't talk to me. Don't text me. Don't call me. Don't do it. I'm overwhelmed. So yeah.
Yeah. Now he, part of what he was channeling was, Tyler was channeling Corey Haim, and Corey Haim's message to Corey Feldman, who is the alive Corey, was that, hey, we have this secret of sorts to talk about. And I'm giving you permission to become vocal, to be public with it. And the whole premise, from what I understood, was there's some sort of abuse in Hollywood of young boys, young, child stars. This is going to get a little touchy, I think.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's no secret, but I guess it is a secret for, all of America. But, Hollywood is really dark. It just is. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, most of the time, there's a lot of abuse. And it takes a lot to, cross over into that celebrity world. And a lot of people say, well, if you're not going to do it, then someone else will. And a lot of people just are those people to do it. Mm. So it's unfortunate, but it's interesting to me, though, that Corey was so well, I'm not sure about this. Mm. Okay, well, the other Corey Haim, was saying it's okay because you'll have a lot of people that are okay with it and will back you up on this. Mm. Because the problem is if you come forth with this information, you're the one going to get, blackballed.
It's a he said, she said type.
Yeah, and that's the thing about being in this industry that I've learned, that sometimes there are topics where, even me being in the industry and the political circumstances that are going on right now, sometimes I feel scared to even speak out because I want to do the politically correct thing. And so I can only imagine, him being in that kind of circumstance and being afraid to speak on it because how this goes. I mean, you've seen Bill Cosby go through it. You've seen other people go through it where, someone will come out and then there's a ton of other people that come out and then people say, well, are they doing this for money? Is he doing this to regain his fame? Like, why is he coming out now? Why now?
Why now is always the
question. Then, so then all these other...
Don't you think, though, if in fact Corey Feldman is in a position to shed some light on this, shouldn't he do it regardless of what the consequences are?
You know what?
I mean, there is a right and a wrong at the end of the day.
I feel like if you're in the point of your career where you are so confident in where you are, if you've done your job, if you've done it successfully, and you're either no longer in the career anymore, it's either you're no longer in the career anymore or you're in a place confident wise in your career where you have a platform that people can support you as you come out. It's one or the other. Right. But if it's not one of those situations, if I wasn't in one of those situations and I was in that situation, your girl wouldn't say anything. I'd be mute.
Which is why most people are, and that's why a lot of people don't know anything.
Right, which is, I mean, in this industry, you have to be, let's be 100, you have to be particular about the things that you address, and you have to do it politically correct.
But does Corey Feldman have a career anymore?
That's my point.
That's the thing. So now that he
doesn't have anything to lose.
Right, that's the thing. So now that he, he's done his career, he's in a circumstance where it's like, hey, I'm not coming out for money, I'm not coming out for fame, been there, done that. I'm coming out because, I want my voice to be heard. I want to help other children who could possibly be in the same situation. But it's either that or it's another circumstance to where he, maybe he is, an A-lister, he's heavy in Hollywood right now, but he has a support system where people are saying, his cast or whatever are saying, we have your back. Right. If you come out with this, we have your back. So it's one or the other.
It's never easy.
It's not easy.
No, and I'm sure
it's not easy.
The entire situation growing up wasn't easy either. That was probably the biggest.
The thing.
Well,
right.
And there's all those rumors with Michael Jackson with him. And I know, some people who have firsthand experience and all of that with Michael Jackson.
And that's a great example, too.
And it's one of those things where someone has so much power and someone is so well known and connected and loved. It's like, well, when you say something that just turns everyone around, it's like, who are you going to believe a lot of times? What I think, though, is interesting is that Judy Haim, who is Corey Haim's mom, came out, I think it was like a month ago, and she was devastated that Corey Feldman was going on the show. And she said that it was all ridiculous and that it wasn't true. And he was going on here for money because there's no reason that Feldman would ever, or Haim would ever contact Feldman, because in the end, he was trying to distance himself.
According to Judy.
According to the mother. But it's interesting now that we watch this episode and see that they're talking about parents. Where are the parents? You know, oh, well, he wants him to release all this information. Well, you know, I'm sure that a lot of the blame goes to Judy.
Yeah.
So that might be why she's a little mad.
Yeah. I mean, would you be red even if your parents didn't support you? Like, would you go on and
Yeah, I mean, at this point, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't matter.
You're not going
It's,
to wait for
what are you
mommy and
gonna
daddy
do?
to
Right.
okay you at the age of 45.
Exactly.
Right? How old is he? So, yeah.
yeah.
I think there might be some legal things there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So if she could be, I don't know, charged with child endangerment. I don't know how difficult or
Right.
serious.
I think she's probably just at the point where her son has passed away. Let bygones be bygones.
Right.
Why dredge up the past?
Right, right.
But
Right.
if we are to believe Tyler and the fact that he can channel energy from other dimensions or realms, then Corey Haim is actually being quite vocal about, hey, I want this to be, you know,
Right.
unraveled.
I was really waiting for this episode to see after I saw what Judy said.
What did you think of Corey Feldman's skepticism at the beginning? Was he converted by the end of it?
I mean,
yeah.
you know, coming from someone who is skeptical, totally. I mean, I would have been convinced by the end of that because I am skeptical, you know? I mean, we talk about this every single episode that we have, but yeah, I mean, to me, I respect anyone who admits that they are skeptical, but they're still able to come and be present and be open to be read, because that's what I would do. You know, I mean, I would love for Tyler to, you know, come on the show and read us. And I am skeptical, but I'm open to it. So I liked that because I was able to relate to him in that aspect of, you know, kind of being like, I don't know.
Can I ask you though why you're a skeptic? Specifically, like in the medium world and,
Sure.
and that kind of thing.
Here we go.
I know, right?
wanna
We're
know.
getting right into it. Well, it has to do with my faith. I just
Okay.
I don't know. I just don't know if God allows people that ability to tap into the other side, to tap into the future.
Don't you think God can
don't-
do anything though?
I think that he can do anything. However, I think that he gives us fair blessings in that, you know, we're not able to tap into the afterlife. We're
So are you not
able to-
convinced at all, 4 episodes in, that Tyler has a power?
I am convinced. I'm definitely convinced, especially when I see the bead of sweat. But you know, I'm not saying that I don't believe him. I first of all, I like Tyler's personality. He's drawn me in just by that because I think he's a very genuine person.
He's great.
Yeah, and he's really coming into it from more of like I want to help you versus, you know, I'm getting money. You know
I'm
what I'm
getting
saying?
fame
And I'm
and-
getting
right.
fame and all that other stuff. I mean, it's very clear that he's wanting to use his gift. And I've seen so many people, you know, get read from him, not only from this show, but other, you know, other celebrities as well. And I love seeing their emotions and I love the tears in their eyes when he hits a spot, you know, and that really convinces me. However, because I'm strong in my beliefs, I just don't know. Something in me is like, I don't understand how God would give some people that gift and not other people that gift as far as.
Well, it's like everything else.
But see, I don't believe that. I don't think that.
You know, not everyone's good at basketball or not everyone's
Or
good
is
at
But see, I don't
dancer.
think I don't think it's that same. I don't think it's on the same plane of blessings, though. I feel like the abilities that we're able to do as human beings, him blessing us with talent, versus him blessing us with the mental capacity to step into the afterlife.
See, I think we're all
that's
able to
different.
do that. We're all able to. We just have to be open to
I don't want to
it.
do that.
Then you're not. Then you
I
don't
don't
do
want
it.
to do that.
won't.
I don't want to do that.
Right.
Unless
Which
you
is
get
most of
struck by
people.
lightning, perhaps.
Which is
So,
I just, but I have questioned that. I just, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking, is that really I mean, does he want us to know details about the afterlife? Does he want us to just read his word and believe from his word what the afterlife is? Does he want us to believe from his word, what our past relatives or friends
I tend to agree
you know
with
what I'm saying?
Jennifer. I think we all have the ability to tap into this if we're vibrating, if we're
If your energy
enlightened at a
levels
certain
are-
level. Yeah, I do. I just think that as human beings, we haven't evolved as a species to the point where we've been able to tap into that sixth sense, if you will.
Now, what I do have sixth sense wise, I don't even know if this is a sixth sense, but I'm very, very good at feeling energies.
Okay.
I can
Well,
meet
that's
someone.
your intuition.
Right. It's my intuition.
But
My
that's your
intuition is
sixth sense.
right. That's my
Yeah.
sixth sense. Like if I meet someone and something in me says I don't know about this person, and like I said in the last episode, I get on myself because sometimes I'm like, well, Ava, if they didn't give you solid evidence not to like them, don't do that. But in my heart sometimes, even if a circumstance pops up or a person, if my intuition says I don't know, then oftentimes I back up, and that's what I've learned from my intuition is to listen to it because
That's a similar
right.
basis.
Oftentimes it's right, but see, I don't think so because I feel like
But
that's
isn't
me.
isn't every part of us given to us by God? You know what I mean? If you're
Yes, but I feel like there's a difference between what he's given us to live in this everyday world versus him giving us the gift to go to the afterlife and know what's on the know what's
well,
in
he's
the
not going
afterlife
into
and know-
dimensions.
But I mean, it's pretty clear though that Tyler is one person who, when he passes, he's not surprised. Like he knows, he knows the other side very well, and I don't. So I question that ability. I don't understand how some of us are able to do that and some are not. I don't feel as if that's something that God. I feel like God, that is his job. That's his role. You know what I'm saying? And so for other people to tap into something that's his job to do, if you speak and pray to him, I just don't believe that we are meant to do that. I
I don't know. I
Like
think to a degree you're elevating that particular sense, and you're giving it the perception of being more important than somebody that has a beautiful voice.
exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're choosing to perceive that as a higher level of power, which
It's
is
the same
interesting.
thing.
that's what
Or
I'm
somebody that channels music, or somebody that is an
Right.
artist.
I am completely not musical. Like, I mean, I did great.
I just don't view those on the same plane. I don't
Okay.
view abilities that we're able to do versus I can tell you the future. I can
Which
tell you
that makes sense in your skeptic,
World.
world.
in my
then.
Virgo analytical world.
Speaking of skeptics, we're going to go on to segment number 2, which was Evelyn Lozada.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys know Evelyn from before? Do you watch Basketball Wives?
I feel left out because I'm not a housewives person.
Is that the same, like, world? Housewives,
kinda-
Basketball Wives?
Yeah,
Are they
kinda.
both on Bravo?
I feel like if you're into one of those shows, you're kind of
Into all of that.
into
Really?
kind of. I mean, if you're not into all of those shows, you at least know the different ones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
those
I
either.
love, like, Beverly Hills. And I
See,
know
I-
Beverly Hills Housewives. But I couldn't tell you anything
Don't
about
watch the
anything
rest of
else.
it. What did you
Yeah.
think of Evelyn and her daughter Shanice? Now, for those of you that watched the episode, you're going to see that these two women looked like sisters.
Yeah,
And I mean,
I
a lot
was
of
so
daughter-
confused.
a lot
Daughter's
of-
beautiful.
A lot of people say, right, a mom and a daughter look like sisters, but these two really did. So I
Yeah.
had to Google, while we were watching the episode, I had to Google the age of these women because it was uncanny to me. So I'm going to out you, ladies. Evelyn is 40,
Stop.
Black don't crack.
and she looks fantastic.
It doesn't.
She's beautiful.
And
Honestly,
her daughter
truly.
Shanice is 23.
What?
So they only have a 16-year
Wait,
age
she looked,
gap.
wait.
She looked
No
like...
shade, but she
They look
looked-
like... Yeah.
okay.
Okay, and all
They
and
both look like cast members.
they both look fantastic.
Right.
Both of them are beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful
But
cast members.
And she
But,
is a model. She's stunning.
Shanice or Evelyn?
Shanice.
Oh, Shanice.
Yeah, she's a model, I believe.
Yeah, I could see that. But both women are beautiful.
yeah, they are.
But I found it interesting that they were both there, and I got a little mesmerized just by looking at them.
I know, right?
I ended up
yep.
sort of tuning out.
That's
I
honest.
found this particular segment so boring.
Yeah.
I just have to be honest.
Well, it was kind of confusing because she kept saying husband and, like, it's not her husband.
She was
Yeah.
channeling.
So-
Tyler ended up channeling Evelyn's sister's husband who had died.
Right.
Right.
But he was the manly figure in the family. And once she explained that part, then I wasn't side-eyeing anymore. Because when she first said it, she was like, yes, and he was like, my husband. I thought, oh, no, don't know. Like I
looked at each other like,
I mean, I'm an only child, but if I had a sister, I'd be like, I love you, boo, but go get your own husband. But then once she said, you know, he was like the manly figure of the family because there were so many women, that made sense. I said, okay, that's understandable. I get that. Yeah? Did it make you feel better?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we looked at each other like, oh, okay.
We side-eyed
that
at
makes
first.
sense. That makes sense.
That
Yeah,
makes
because
sense.
at first it was a little. Well, that's what made it a little bit confusing, I feel like,
Yeah.
because it kept going back and forth, and it's like,
It was confusing
Right.
to put the family tree together.
Right.
But
Yeah.
once we got it, because, you know, when you don't know them or don't know their
Right.
history.
Right, yeah.
But to them, it seemed like there was a lot of beneficial things out of that reading. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Evelyn's sister, the widow of the man that died, the man's name was Anthony. She was in the other room, and you could see her tearing up and getting very emotional over this reading. And you know, like we've seen in past episodes, right? Sometimes Tyler channels people that are meant for, you know, the siblings or the family members rather than just the person, the star that he's there to meet with.
Right.
So it just depends on who's coming through strongest, I guess.
right.
Yeah, yeah. Would you be okay with that though? If
What?
if he was reading you and you wanted to hear from specific people, would you?
Well, I'm not a brat, and I'm like, no, Tyler, I want to hear this person. No, of course,
I mean,
you know, whoever comes
low-key,
through,
I
comes
would
through.
be like
That's so funny.
that.
No, you just have to like accept it however it
Yeah.
comes. You can't be like, no, Tyler, I don't want to speak with that person. I'd rather talk to this person.
I mean, as long as the two people that I do want to talk to
Come through?
I don't care.
You don't mind the extra person.
I don't mind the extra person, but if it's only someone else that I'm not,
she's exclusive in her spirit.
I'm exclusive,
clique.
okay?
You can't speak to me.
You can't. No, we can't do this. As long as the people that I do want to hear from, though, if they come through, then fine. I'm open. We can talk about 10 other
And I mean,
people.
you never know people's situations. They may not have had anyone else that died recently.
Yeah, very
Right?
true.
They may be very lucky, and this is the only one in the past 10
or
years.
it could be that those people on the other side are saying, I don't really have anything to say. How would you feel about that, though?
Well, that's good.
You know what that would mean to me? I agree. That would mean
So
to
the book
me
is closed.
that everything that needed to be said was said.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is kosher with everyone else, and life is good on both sides.
on both
That's how
sides.
I would take that. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, because
That's
no,
how
go
I
ahead.
think my reading would be with Tyler. It's something because I don't have too many people who've passed. I mean,
Yeah.
I know my grandpa and then, you know, very, very, very like older relatives. So, I mean, I feel like it would be more of a future past type reading rather than all these people coming through and me sobbing like Madison Beer, or, you know,
Right,
or like
right.
Melissa Joan Hart. I just don't feel like I would have
Yeah.
that. But who knows? You
Yeah.
never know. I mean, there also these people come into your reading because they have a specific message and it might hit a chord with you that that's what your struggle is at that moment.
Right.
So that might feed
Yeah.
your soul at that moment.
Exactly.
So,
And I mean, we're in a blessed situation because I'm kind of in that same circumstance. I mean, both of my grandparents have passed. And I have two left. One is not in my life though, so he kind of doesn't count. But yeah, I mean, those are the only two people that I would really want to hear from. I mean, luckily, I haven't had a lot of deaths in my family. So yeah, I can relate to that 100%. I would really want to hear from our grandfather though, because I don't really remember us having that big of a relationship because he passed so soon. So I would
What
really
would
like
you
to
want to hear, though?
I don't know. Maybe, you know, I love you. I'm proud of you. I've kept up with you. You know,
just knowing someone's
just
there.
like just knowing that, hey, you know, even though I passed when you were very young, you know, I still look after you. I'm still around. You know, I know what you've done. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Because I was so young that there's maybe 3 or 4 memories I have of him,
Right.
yeah.
and that's it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How about animals? We're going to go on to segment number 3. Segment number 3, Rachel Hunter, who, for anyone
Deers
that,
and horses.
Yeah, was a big supermodel back in the day. I had to Google her age as well. Rachel Hunter is 46.
She's beautiful.
She's looking great still, absolutely. But the reason I brought up the animals is Tyler channeled her horses.
Which was so cool.
Yeah,
It was so cool.
That was pretty cool. And she took the saddles out from under the table. I thought that it was, you know, pretty cool.
After he
after the
identified that he
fact,
was seeing
right.
horses.
I thought
Yeah.
that was pretty neat.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
not a huge horse person, so
I
I just thought,
am.
oh God, dying with this episode.
I'm a huge animal person, and I'm a huge horse person too. I love horses, and I'm actually in my hometown in Charleston, South Carolina. They do horse carriages, and it kills me to see them strapped up like that.
They do that in
people
Chicago.
around. It kills me. It just breaks my heart. I just don't believe that they should be chained up like that.
Yeah, they do that in a lot of cities.
Yeah. In New York too.
Sad.
I'm just kind of like, so I resonated with that, but you're like,
This one was a happy horse.
Yes.
But then it died under a tree, so I guess not at a point.
I mean, that's a peaceful way to.
That's a peaceful way to die.
That's a peaceful way to
If
die.
you're a horse and you're out, just
Okay.
grazing.
I mean, I don't know their
Yeah.
lifestyle. I don't know if
You're
Yeah.
clearly a city girl.
right. I
Give
mean, I
me
don't
a
know.
tree, you know what I mean? If I'm, don't give me sickness, give me a peaceful tree, you know?
I'm with you in the pool, in the cabana.
Right, yeah.
So wait, so that's how you want to go?
Well, if it's by an alcohol drink and you're having a
You're
great
hanging by
time,
the pool and not having to worry about anything else, yes.
Okay.
Perfectly fine.
and then
Okay.
I've been watching American Horror Story and like rewatching everything, and people don't know they're dead. So like, if I didn't know I was dead and I was just lounging by the pool, I would I would have a blast, and then I would channel through Tyler. I'd be like, hey, tell them, my
them
drink's
this
full.
and this and
Right. You know what? I would almost love that if we just didn't know that we were dead.
But maybe when we're dead, we won't.
I hope so.
We don't know.
I
You
hope
never
so.
know.
I really hope so, because I always think, do you know that you're 6 feet under? Do you know that you're in a
See,
coffin?
but you're not,
Do
though,
you know that
because
you're
your spirit
bombed?
has left. Your spirit,
Do you know?
you've become a spirit.
Well, if your body, if your soul is like an earth soul, like you are into possessions, you're into this life, then you will be in this life. You know what I mean? You'll be attached to it. If you're just
no.
Renounce everything
It's
before you
true.
die.
It's
I
true.
like that.
Do you?
I do.
It's not good.
No, I'm saying I like that, as in I like that perception. I've never looked at it like that.
Oh, really?
No, I've never looked at it that way. I've maybe looked at it like, if you're not going to heaven, then I guess your spirit just kind of floats around. Maybe that is hell.
I mean, I see that,
Or
but
maybe it's floating around 6 feet under still.
Okay, see, and that freaks me out. That totally freaks me
Speaking
out.
of American Horror Story.
Right.
but yeah.
In this episode, Tyler also did a little forward looking into Rachel's life, and he talked about romance. And he told her that you're not really going to have much romance for another 5 years. Oh, and the poor woman just about died.
Honesty.
What did you think of that?
That's why you don't go into my future, man.
Stay
out of my future, bro.
Ava doesn't
Stay out of my future.
In fairness, he did tell her that you may have some relationships, but you're not going to be at your peak of happiness
See,
for another 5 years.
Don't tell me that.
But
And-
doesn't that make
but
you
that's
feel like you have something
something
to
to look forward to.
Maybe you and I are on the same page today.
something to look forward to. What if he said, never in your life will you fall in love?
That's why, bro, you don't go into my future. And then she's what, 40? How old?
46.
Okay, so don't tell me at 46 that I have 5 years to be single.
so negative. 51. What if it's with like a 25-year-old cabana
Right,
boy,
like
and you're
J-Lo
like,
all over
yes.
What are
I
we
don't
gonna
know.
talk
Go to Hawaii
about?
for the weekend? Who's talking?
But what are we gonna talk about when you're 25 and I'm 45? What are we-
J-Lo's doing it.
Yeah.
That's
Again,
true.
not concerned with the talking.
Correct.
You're on a beach in Hawaii.
So, which I might be actually. I was telling Ava before you
You're
walked
going.
in that
No,
I
you're-
may be going to
you're going.
Hawaii.
You are.
Really?
Yes,
Solo
on
dolo?
Sunday. No, not solo.
Like with a date?
No, with some
Ooh.
girlfriends.
Oh, see there?
Yes.
You have to go. You
I
have to,
might, yeah. But we'd be leaving in like 3 days.
See,
I'm like, oh, maybe
I
I'll
would
go.
rather Tyler tell me something like that versus you're going to be single. Like, Ava, you're going to go on this fantastic trip with 10 of your girlfriends versus, Ava, you're going to sit still for another 5 years.
But
and you're
listen
already
to this.
45.
One of those you have control over. One you don't. You have control to get 10 of your girlfriends together and go on a vacation. The other one you don't.
Well, kind of. You can just go on a dating app and be like, Tyler said that I'm going to be single for another 5 years.
And
Get me
I think
out.
it would make it 10 then.
Right, that's the problem.
That's true. That's true. I'm not even into dating apps. I don't even know why I said that, but that's why I just don't touch my future.
Okay.
Don't do it.
Okay, then that's something you need to tell him for sure.
Oh,
then.
no.
Be like, okay,
Okay.
these are the rules.
No future.
no future, no
career.
past, no dead people.
No career, no dead people.
Never mind. Just never
don't.
mind. You want some
That's
snacks? Fair.
Going back to animals for a minute, and again, I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm distracted, if I'm in Hawaii already mentally, but they started talking about deers
Yes.
And I'm like, are they talking about animals again? Or like, I just got so confused. Who was the deer?
You know what? I'm gonna have to side with you. I
What
was
the heck was
lost.
going on there?
It took me
At
a
the
really.
end of Rachel Hunter's
I wasn't
reading.
engaged.
So
No.
again, it wasn't specific, I feel like. Or there might have been something that was taken away from that reading.
Or maybe
something
they
we
edited
don't
it
know.
differently because
Right.
it didn't make any sense to me.
But
yeah.
her mother came through.
Grandmother.
Grandmother Margaret.
Margaret.
Yeah.
Margaret.
And he did say MAR, which, you know, okay, he always gets the first part of the name right.
Sure.
And, you know, maybe it had to do with something like that. I feel like we need to watch it like 5 more times.
Yeah, and then the best
really
part
do.
was, for anyone that watched it, you'll know what I'm talking about. They cliffhangered the commercial break on a deer. And I'm thinking, are they kidding me? Like, I just couldn't handle
Dun,
today's
dun,
episode.
dun.
I really loved the start of it. I thought Corey Feldman's take was great, and it was heartfelt, and it was emotional, and it was engaging, and I was all in there. And then between the mom and the sisters and the Anthonys and the husbands and the deers,
The
I'm just like,
Anthonys.
oh my God, I gotta
Anthonys.
go.
Not the Anthonys.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
found interesting about this episode? I don't know if you noticed, but all 3 guests gave Tyler a ring to hold.
Oh.
Did you notice that?
I didn't.
You're very
Uh-huh.
observant. For
I'm-
someone that said that they weren't engaged in this episode.
Yeah, right?
You caught on because I didn't.
Yeah, all 3 gave him
At
a
all.
ring. And I'm wondering if whether a ring, because of the metal,
Like the elect.
contains, keeps the energy stronger than,
That's a
than
good
just
question.
a fabric.
That is a good
Right?
question.
Yeah,
That's
I'd
a
be
really
curious
good
to
question.
ask Tyler. Tyler, if you're watching that, let us know. Let us know
Yeah.
if there's certain materials that maybe you feel the energy stronger.
Actually, my friend who is watching the show messaged me over the weekend and just told me about her experience with her medium. And there's this famous medium in Chicago, and she spent an hour with her, and she actually was able to feel a hug from the other side. And she had a medal with her. So maybe I think there was
Wow.
something that intense. But it was her ex-boyfriend, and she needed that closure, and it was so intense, and there were so many people that came through. So she was just, you know, filling up my phone with all these stories that were
Don't you feel
intense.
sometimes, I've got Ava over here, for anyone that's on audio, Ava's doing the no way face.
No,
But
no,
don't you
no,
feel
no, no.
sometimes when you get the goosebumps? Don't you
yeah.
feel as though someone just has stroked you?
No.
You know what? I don't get that. I don't ever get that.
No.
But my mom has when my grandma died. She felt this, and it was almost like an okay, because my mom was crying, and she was like,
Wow.
hey, it's okay. I'm on to the other side. So I've never experienced that.
Don't touch me. Don't do it. Don't touch me. Don't call
That's a
me.
lot.
Don't text me.
But it is kind of
Don't
crazy
do
the
it.
power because, again, going back to Corey Feldman, by the end of his read, once he sort of became a believer, if you will, he basically, he said that, you know, he felt as though Tyler reached into his brain and pulled out exactly what was on his mind. And it had to do with the abuse and the writing of the book that he's writing and the bringing it out. So, you know, I'm a believer. I am.
I'm glad that he got that closure, though. You know, it looks like he's going through a lot. I mean, I don't mean to assume something about someone, but you could just tell that, you know, he's been through a lot. So I'm hoping that, you know, the reading gave him some closed
I feel
answers.
like
He
there's
just-
more. Like he's like, okay, it's closed. I just have to do things now.
exactly.
It's up to me.
Do you think he'll
yeah.
have the strength of character to do it?
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe after a while. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, if you were pondering on something for years and years and praying about it, and someone finally came to you and confirmed it vocally, I would totally, my conscience would be like, you have to do this now because he has confirmed it vocally for you, and he's literally.
Yeah, how do you ignore that?
Yeah,
how
like,
do you go to bed tonight and not
How do you
think
say,
on that?
oh, okay, well, I may come out about these allegations. I may do it. No, I would do it. I would find the best way that would make me comfortable to come out, and I would do it because I just wouldn't feel at peace if I didn't.
You know what I found interesting, and again, and it makes me question the strength of the relationship between the living and the dead. You're Corey Haim now, so you're the dead one. Why, if you're dead, would you care at all to come back and deal with this?
This is what
I think because it's such an unfinished business, and there's so much there that's so. I mean, it is a lot when you do know things. It's a lot, and it's hard to keep your mouth shut. I know that from experience that it's really hard. And if I died, I would definitely come through and say, hey, Britney Spears, come out about what happened to you. Hey, like a lot of people, I would say a lot.
I like to close the book and I like to move on. Just like I said in the last episode, that's the thing that scares me. I don't want to be in the afterlife dealing with things on earth. I don't want to have that.
You want to be at peace.
I want to be at peace with what's going on. I don't want to have to turn around and be aggravated because I'm looking at my child or my, whatever that's still on earth living, and I'm it's like I'm at a glass wall, like, look at me, like I want to help you, I want to say something, but I can't. You can't hear me, you can't see me. I don't want to have that burden
kind of like
on
a
me.
ghost type of scenario.
Well, that's
right?
I don't want
that's
that.
the frustration, and that's why Tyler's there to
wanna
fill
move on.
that barrier and go, hey, okay, here's the frustrated ghost and here's the frustrated human. Here, let's talk.
I treat it like a breakup. You know what I mean? I broke up with the earth. I'm moving on. I break up with a man. I move on. I close
You
the
can come
book.
hang in my heavenly pool.
Yeah, I'm definitely going there. I don't want to turn around. And oftentimes I wonder about that when it comes to my grandmother, because there's a lot of a lot of drama, messy drama that happened when she passed. And I wonder, is she okay? Does she not care? Does she wish that she could be here?
Would you ask Tyler these questions? If you got to sit with
Absolutely.
him?
I would. I would.
With Corey, though, I'm thinking he doesn't want to let go in his career, maybe. Like, he thinks that there still is more there to his career, so he doesn't want to close that door.
I wouldn't.
I mean, at this point, who knows?
Yeah.
But
I mean,
But
hopefully
hasn't
it
been
comes
much
out.
there for 20 years.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he does a few like reality things and stuff, which still brings in money. I mean, how is someone like that going to make money other than residuals? It's hard. You can't find a job.
But see, that's why I think he's in the perfect place to come out and say something like that. Because if it was, the other way around and he was on an ABC hit show right now, I would be quiet.
He would be quiet. I would be quiet.
I would be quiet.
Right,
I wouldn't
exactly.
say anything, and it goes back to that. It's either you're in a position where you're confident enough to come out, even if you are on a hit show and your cast is backing you and your agency or whoever is like, we got you.
right.
Or it's the other way around.
Look at what happened to Kesha.
Yeah.
No one believes her. And it's
Right.
ridiculous. And they're making her work with Dr. Luke. And it's insane to me. Because sometimes it just doesn't matter. Money rules.
Yeah, or Jesse Williams. I believe Williams is his last name. He's on Grey's Anatomy, and he made a powerful speech at the BET Awards about what's going on with African Americans. And
What did he say?
It was a big deal.
It was a big deal, and it really sunk in with me because it allowed me as an African American to be alert and aware of what's going on, and that there's a lot of injustices that are happening in our nation and things that we need to talk about and discuss. And he brought that to the forefront, and he was strong in what he was saying, and it was
Do
such
you feel his career was affected by his vocalism?
No, and it easily could have been, but his backing, Shonda Rhimes, she even tweeted, like, I support you. I support what you said, and she created Grey's Anatomy. So when you have a situation like that, then sure, be vocal and stand up, for what you believe. But then again, the other dark side is I don't feel like you should be silent. That's the other dark side, is I think that you shouldn't have to hide who you are, because at the end of the day, we're more than what we're hired to do.
Does life work that way,
We're
though?
people. We're human beings. I mean, in a time like this when we need leaders, yes, someone has to step up to the plate, and I appreciate Jesse for doing that. And because he has a solid foundation like Shonda Rhimes, who said, do your thing, I'm not firing him, after the speech that he made, he was able to do that. But then, it's either you have that or your career was 30 years ago and you're no longer, in a situation where you're hot. So it's like, I can come out and say these things, kind of like a Bill Cosby thing. But, I mean, he had projects after, though, that got canceled because of everything that was going on. So, yeah.
Well, Stephen Collins is a big one, who is the dad on Seventh Heaven, and he.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did that story. And
What happened there?
Oh, yeah.
He did a lot of bad things to kids and that kind of thing, and it's in the same world as it. It's just people in power. They try to make you feel that you're you know, in this
Well, and
position.
this happens all over the place. I mean, look at the Catholic Church, for example.
Right.
So I
Right.
think anywhere you have kids involved, it becomes a little bit particular to have the right parental influence watching what's going on.
Right.
Because there are good people and there are bad people.
Which is
Yeah.
why I think maybe why Judy was a little, you know, upset
about that. You know what?
That's what I'm
that
saying.
clicks. That clicks.
That's what I'm
makes
saying.
sense.
She's afraid to look like the bad mom.
Yes. Yeah. Because who knows what he's going to say. You know, maybe the mom was like, okay, yeah, sleep over at Michael Jackson's house for a week. You know, it's one of those things where you don't know. We might find out. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it clicks now that you know you put it like that. Yeah, I mean,
I just think it's interesting. Why is she so upset that they were talking on the other side? Well, of course, what you said and what she said was let him rest in peace.
Right.
Leave him alone.
Leave it
Could be,
alone.
and it could be as simple as that. We don't
It
know.
could be.
Right.
It could be.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Could be the one or the other.
Interesting.
yeah.
All right, ladies, any last thoughts on today's episode?
Oh, I do want to do an Ava scoop
Ava
really
scoop,
fast.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Ava, what scoop do you have for
Okay,
us?
so going back to Evelyn, who's on the Real Housewives,
Basketball wives.
Basketball Wives, excuse me. So relatable. She and her fiance, his name is Carl Crawford. He's a baseball player. She told E! News like earlier in the month, basically that he's a very private person and that he doesn't like to be in the public eye, and that he respects his fiance for being the reality star, but he tells her, I'm the reality, or, you know, you're the reality star, I'm the baseball player, so let's keep that separate.
Interesting, because she's got a new show coming out called Living Lozada.
Yeah.
So she's sort of got her own spin-off off of Basketball Wives.
Exactly.
And he doesn't want to be featured in this
He
at all.
doesn't want to be in it, and it's so it's funny because people there, I guess there are fans that believe that they're just not, that her family's kind of torn apart because she keeps it so separate. But I relate to that because I tell my friends all the time, and even, you know, a person I'm dating, I don't do social media and relationships. I don't do Man Crush Monday. I don't do bae selfies. I don't do any of that. I'm a very.
But do you think
I don't-
do you think that's going to cause a little bit of a rift in their relationship going forward?
No, if anything, I think it's a healthy way to approach things because I feel like you're not putting your relationship in the public eye and you're keeping that in a sacred place. And, you know, I'm not even on that big of a platform. And I believe that for my little 2,000 and some followers, I just don't believe in putting my relationship on the forefront.
It's no one's business.
It's no one's business.
Right, and you don't want to put yourself open to comments and that kind of thing.
Right.
I mean, my really good friend who's very, very high profile, she has a lot of situations, and it's unfortunate that, you know, every time she posts a picture, because she's a playmate, she'll post a picture of her and her fiance, and then it's insane, the comments saying she's a prostitute, he pays for things, when she paid for the trip.
Yeah.
You know, people don't know the situation.
And I don't want them to. I feel like the people who are dear to you are the people that should know your love
they
life.
don't need to know.
And everyone else doesn't need to know. I don't want to put in a relationship with such and such on Facebook, and then we break up, and then I have to take down 20 photos, and then people be side-eyeing and messaging
asking
each other
questions.
like, "Oh, girl, did you see?" I don't want that. I don't. You know, I mean, there was a time where I was in a relationship for over a year, and people didn't even know. You know, the people that were closest to me knew, and the people, you know,
And everyone has
else,
their own level, their own spectrum of public
Yeah.
versus private.
Exactly, and there's no shade at all. I mean, whatever
yeah.
you want to do is what you want to do. But for me, I like to keep my personal life and my social media life in two different situations. I like to keep it very generic.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, perfect. Well,
Yeah.
We want to know what you at home think. So if you're very public about your relationships, you know, hit us up. Send us some photos. Let us know. If you're more on the private side, we'd also be curious. I'd be curious to
Yeah.
kind of talk to 100 people and see where they're at. That's it for us for tonight. Again, you can find us on social media. I'm at Kezias Katerina. Thank you for being with us.
I'm Jennifer Leone. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Jennifer Leone TV.
And I'm Ava Hill, and you can find me on Instagram at the Ava Hill and on Facebook at Ava Hill.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again next Wednesday night.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.